Hello everybody, how are you doing? The video that I did last night on the turntable repair went over like a lead balloon. Or since it's a turntable, maybe that should be a Led Zeppelin. Just a little dad humor there. I know it stunk. But I'm out in the shop tonight. Quick update on the turntable. I went in, I think it was $8.95. That included shipping for a drive belt. And I ordered it, should be in by Friday. Keep fingers crossed it makes it, and we'll test that thing out. If I get it working, I'm going to build a little shelf over here somewhere. I don't want to start on a shelf or build a shelf until I know it's working, because I don't want to have a shelf on the wall and every time I look at it I'm like, man, I really wish that turntable was there, you know, because then I'll feel like I got to buy another one. And if I don't get it working, I'm not going to buy another one. It's the luck of the draw. If it works, great, we're going to use it. If it doesn't work, and I probably will, I won't be able to play music on the channel for obvious reasons. There's copyright issues, but as I'm listening to music in the shop, especially during these updates, I probably will, you know, let you guys know what's hot on the turntable today, and you know, just talk about that for a second or two. What I am going to work on is this. This is a mandrel for making a section for a kitless pin, and this is a piece of material that someone sent me quite a while back, and it's a little longer than it needs to be. I'll need to cut it down to size, but this is a mandrel section that I started a while back on my Atlas lathe, and the reason why I bought this live center was because when you have something like this, whoa, you can't see it right now, but this is already hollow and it's already threaded, so it's very delicate. And when I go to start shaping this, if I'm not careful, what's going to happen is it needs support. It could break off. That's what this live center's for. And the second piece of that is I stopped making this a while back, and I made this little deal where I could put this my tool rest. Sorry, I lost what it was called for a second. Tool rest on the lathe, so that I can shape by hand things like the section. I don't see myself anytime soon anyway doing those type of shapes with the metal lathe. I hope to get that good, but I'm not there right now, and it's going to be a while. So, you know, I've been kind of building on this. This has been sitting for a couple of weeks, but now that I've got a tool rest and now that I got a live center, let's go turn a section. I'll show you guys how it goes as we progress. I want to show you guys my setup. I've got my collet chuck here. Got a 1/2 inch collet in there. That's holding my section mandrel. I've got my piece here. Now it's a little fat. I need to take it down a little farther because I was really nervous before turning it down without any support. But I've got my live center here in my tailstock, and I've got my tool rest here set up and ready to go. All I need to do is get me a nice sharp tool, and we're ready to start turning. You will notice something odd. There's no carriage up here. The carriage is at this end of the lathe. Normally your tailstock would go on, it would be inserted into the end of the lathe, and it would come behind the carriage with the tool post. What I've done though is I loosened up this nut right in here and dropped there's a little piece that locks underneath of the ways. I dropped it down far enough to where you turn it sideways, it goes right between the lathes. Then I could turn it back, but I dropped it down far enough to where it would clear the lathes, because they're over a 1/2 inch thick, I would say. But I got it mounted on there. Everything's nice and tight, and all it boils down to now is I need to get my tool sharp, and I'll be ready to start taking this blank and giving it a little bit of shape. So far things are going pretty good. I got this section shaped. I still have a little bit of a lip back here, just a fingernail, but I'd rather have that until the very end. I can always clean that right up and then sand it right down. This is the shape I like for a grip. I've got it cut down. I need to go a little deeper than that, but I didn't want to get too aggressive. And I'm starting to shape the nib a little bit now. Probably, maybe that much of that is going to end up getting cut off. I'm just going to shape the whole thing, and then we'll take it off of here. We'll test, and we'll come back and shape a little more until I get the right dimension, because the dimensions on my paper are from the last time I made one of these. And I was doing some things differently, so we're going to have to really watch our measurements, but I'm happy with how it's turned out so far. The tough part of this is, you might remember on my lathe, I've got 4 step-down pulleys on the lathe, and I've only got 3 pulleys back on the armature, and those 3 pulleys don't line up perfectly with the 4 step-down pulleys, so I'm still in the market for a set of 4 step-down pulleys for this Atlas lathe. If somebody happens to run across a set of those, send a link my way, please. But once I get those, I'll be able to work with the speeds. I really don't know what speed I'm turning. I've got it turning as quick as I can get it to go right now with the situation that I'm in. So just keeping my tool sharp, taking light cuts, because when it's going slow, you stand a better chance at getting a catch than when it's going fast. So we're just going to take our time and just keep peeling away at this. And, this is all for fun. I'm not really recording it except to show you guys. I just want to do it, figure out how to do it, get all the parts. That was the idea behind this. And when I started making this, that's where I came up with the idea, hey, you need a tool rest. So I figured that out. The knob on the tool rest didn't work. It was in the way of the tool post. Or I'm sorry, of the tool handle. So I got that taken care of by taking a smaller nut and cutting it down. I needed a live center, so I'm learning. The process of making this pin is to learn every single thing I need for this lathe to be able to make these. And then once I learn everything I need and I purchase everything I need, I'll be able to knock them out. And then I can start working to improve them by using some of the tools or some of the pieces like the carriage, and the tool lantern, and everything that is part of the lathe. And I've got to learn a lot more about that, but we're just building right now. So this is a lot of fun. I'll keep you guys posted on my progress. You can see that I'm making progress, and this section's looking pretty good. I just got the call to go in for dinner, so I'm gonna stop and do that. I got a nice shape here. I'm in the process of just basically taking the diameter of this down and starting to kind of slope it towards the live center. So I've got a nice nib. And like I said, I figure about that much of it will come off. So I've got a lot of work to do. It's just real slow going at the slower speeds, but I'm very happy with how it's progressing. All right, I decided to stop on this nib. You can see how long it is. And let me show you why I decided to stop turning it. Notice how it doesn't go all the way down and seat all the way down. I neglected to cut a relief on this one behind my threads. So when I twisted it in, let's see if I can find it. I cracked this pin body. I don't see it. I'll be able to fix the pin body. That's not a huge deal. What I'll do is run a little, it fits back together tightly. I'll run a little CA glue down the inside of it, and then I'll take the tap by hand and just run the tap down through there by hand and clean that CA out once it dries. But I didn't see this until it was too late. But take a look at that. You could tell I did not cut a relief behind my threads. And now, I guess I could do it. There's not a real easy way to make that happen, and I'm not overly concerned about it. Bottom line is, I know that I have everything I need to turn a section on this lathe, and that's what this was really all about. I did find a way. This is kind of funny. Let me flip you around. Here's where I was running my belt, and I got to thinking, wait a minute, I'm going small pulley to large pulley. I flipped it around, put the large pulley down at the bottom, the small one at the top, and it gave me quite a bit more speed on my lathe. But the issue was, it also pulled the mechanism this way. And when it did that, it caused it to kind of rub against this little rod here. I started smelling something burning, and there was little puffs of smoke coming off of my pulley because it was getting so hot from rubbing. So I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of a plastic bushing or something for that. Maybe I can put a nylon or a Delrin, make a washer and put it in there so that it doesn't work its way over and hit. But other than that, I am super happy with this. It's actually not a bad shape. It needs to be shortened. I was just trying to be really, really careful with it. I think one of the things I'm going to end up working on is probably some kind of tools for turning, because I started off using this, which is like a tiny little bowl gouge. And then I switched over and I started using a tiny little skew. And I was using the skew for a while normally, and then I flipped over and started using it like a scraper, using it on its side. And it worked fairly well like that, and really the cut's not bad. I wasn't thinking I was getting a very good cut, but it's actually pretty smooth. But I need to work on some type of a tool to do that and make it a little bit simpler. And we'll work on that. That's not a big deal. I'm super happy about this. I'm going to call it quits on this, and we're going to move on and see what other kind of trouble we can get into tonight. I'm just taking a look at my quick change tool holder, and I'm really happy with that. I took this nut off the top of it, and it lets it slide off of this rod, and this rod threads out of this base. But what this base is for is right here where this lantern tool post holder is. This needs to be machined down to fit there. Once it fits in that slot, then I can drop the quick change tool holder back on here, put the nut back on, lock it down, and I can proceed to adjust the heights of my tools to get all the heights at exactly dead center. Then I'll be able to just quickly pop a tool on there, lock it, and use it. So I'm really excited about that. What I've got to do now is I need to find someone who is a machinist who can machine that piece down to the exact same size as that piece. That's not something I think I want to tackle. So I think what I'll do is possibly over on my other channel, I may actually post a video as well about this. Just looking for, like I said, I'd like to get a seasoned machinist. I'm willing to pay to have it done, and I can send that bottom piece where my lantern tool post holder and this bottom piece over here to you, and then basically if you could machine it down for me and just let me know what the charge would be, we'll take care of that, and when it comes back I'll be able to pop everything right on that lathe. So if I know a number of you are seasoned machinists, you've been doing it, some of you for your whole life, and that's what I'm looking for. If you are a machinist and you'd be interested in machining, really I'm just going to send you this little square bottom piece and that little bottom piece off that one, and you can that way you should be able to measure, mark, and get it perfect. But if you are a seasoned machinist and you're interested in doing that for me and you'd like to shoot me a price to do that, heck, you've probably done it before so you know what it's going to take, but I would really appreciate it, and perhaps we can we can work out me getting that off to you to get it done. So let me know, and if no one on here is interested in doing that, I'll go ahead and post something to my other channel, but I'll try here first because this is a lot more informal. Okay, I'm gonna put everything back so I don't lose any parts, and let's see what other kind of trouble we can get into. Well guys, I decided that's it for me. I came out to the shop, I did everything I wanted to do, and I learned what I needed to learn. I now know that I can make a full-on kitless pin on this Atlas lathe, and I'm ready to do that. That's probably gonna be one of my next projects, and the cool thing about that is I talked about the quick change tool holder needing to send off the base and have it machined, and I'm going to have to send off the base of the lantern tool holder as a pattern to have that machined identical. And the cool thing is I won't need that for turning a kitless pin, so I've got time to work and learn and build without having to worry about, oh gosh, I don't have that tool back, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm in good shape. So I'm psyched about that. I need to get in and get on the computer. I've got some things I need to look up and figure out, and I got a couple of more things I need to buy, which there never seems to be, that list never seems to get any shorter. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I will be back soon. The weather is breaking. It's supposed to be in the 80s all week, so when I can sneak a night out to be in the shop here, you can bet you I will. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you later. Have a great evening, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night if we're lucky. Keep your fingers crossed.